What up guys, SuperMetal1983 here bringing us another album review, and we've got another killer release that you just really need to check out, especially if you're into your hard-hitting, hammer-down style of deathcore, and that is Within Destruction with their new album entitled Deathwish, which will be released on March 30th through Rising Nemesis Records. Now, if you've knew me or been subscribed to me for the past, well, that's it, 2.5 years, something like that, you'll know that Within Destruction are going to be one of my favourite deathcore bands in the entire genre. And as you may also know, their 2016 album, their debut album, which is called Void, which is this one, was my album of the year for 2016. And the reason being behind that, I'll just quickly go into it if you want to hear more about this album, in particular Void. Check out my CD review on the channel, and also my top albums of 2016 video. But yeah, in brief, Void just blew me away when I first heard it. I was just ready to go to the gym, and I thought, you know what, I'll check out that Within Destruction. I've seen the album artwork pop up all sorts left, right and centre, so let's see what all the hype's about. And from that moment when I first heard it, I can't remember when exactly I heard it off the top of my head, but I knew straight away, yeah, this is going to be my album of the year without a shadow of doubt. And as the year progressed, I kept on going back to it, and it ended up becoming my most played album of that year, and I was like, yeah, that has to be my album of the year. It's just relentless, fast, intense, and just hard-hitting as it gets when it comes to deathcore. If you haven't heard this album, make sure you do. It is absolutely fucking excellent, if you ask me. Definitely a 10 out of 10. Excuse me. Definitely a 10 out of 10 album, if you ask me. Now, obviously, it's been 2 years since the band released that album, and obviously, in my personal opinion, I don't know about anyone else, if anyone has listened to this, but with this being my album of the year for 2016, or Void was my album of the year for 2016, I held this album, Deathwish, up on a high pedestal, I have to say. I had high hopes for it, and I wanted it to deliver so much intensity and bring the barbaricness that I fell in love with when it came to Void, and just being all pumped up when I heard that album. And they dropped their first single, which was the 6th track on this album, called Human Defect, and this features Dickie Allen of Infinite Annihilator laying down his vocals near enough towards the end of the video, or the song, whichever you want to go by. And when you listen to that song back to back a few times, you know instantly what you're going to be in for when this album drops on March 30th. It's relentless, it's intense, it's as barbaric as it gets in deathcore, if you ask me. I mean, I've never heard any band or album, EP, whatever, that has delivered such intensity and feels like a 10-ton hammer hitting you right across the face like Within Destruction has. And especially that song, Human Defect, I was like, yeah, this is going to be an absolutely monstrous sounding album, and it's going to be huge. It's going to be almighty. And I contacted the band saying, like, would you just be interested in me reviewing the album on the channel, like what we're doing now? And they, Luca, their drummer, got in contact with me and was like, yeah, I'll sort you out. So here we are doing the review. Now, the album runs about 37 minutes in length, and in those 37 minutes, what it is a great continuation of the Within Destruction sound. Now, obviously, Within Destruction are being pigeonholed into that sort of slam deathcore kind of movement, or as loads of people come to call it, fake slam, which is fucking bullshit. They fell into that kind of line with the likes of Vulvodynia and Ingested and, let's just say, Acrania, amongst others, who are classed as fake slam. But in my personal opinion, what makes obviously Ingested my favourite band, and Within Destruction has grown to become one of my favourites in the deathcore circuit, is because they are pushing the boundaries of deathcore, if you ask me. Like, deathcore has always had its like straight up deathcore sound, but there's still a lot of room for growth, evolution, and just expanding upon the deathcore sound to make it become more relentless, more special, and have a lot more going for it than just blast beats and breakdowns. And Within Destruction, especially with this album, Deathwish, has proved what I'm on about, because this album is just as relentless, just as powerful and intense and obnoxious as it gets when it comes to deathcore. These are one of the heavyweights, and I don't mean heavyweights as in the big ginormous bands like Wyattxhim, Suicide Silence, Die Artist Murder, amongst others. I'm talking about hugeness. They are one of the most massive sounding bands in the circuit, and Deathwish definitely proves that, because this is definitely a beefy production behind it, exactly like it was on Void. The way this album makes me feel, and both albums in general, is it doesn't make us feel like anything that's been in deathcore before. It makes us feel like when I first heard the likes of Heat to Stay by Korn back in the early days when I first discovered metal. That bass tone just rumbled in my stomach. This is what this album fucking does to me, and what Within Destruction do, is create this barbaric, intense, pounding, monstrous tone of clunky, clanky bass tone, but full of meat, a lot on top of a huge, powerful, crisp guitar tone, but is so huge and massive sounding that it creates a hole within the earth, and you just get sucked to the core. That's how relentlessly heavy this album is. This is up there as being on heavy terms along the lines of Black Tongue's Born Hanged EP. That's how heavy this album is, and if Black Tongue can tune all the way down to there and make it that heavy, they need a production like this, because this is a relentless assault of pure filth, if you ask me. Not only that, the drum work on this album, it actually feels a little bit less chaotic compared to Void, but I still think it offers a lot more groove and intensity, especially when the slams kick in on this album. When the slams kick in, and I know someone's going to kick off for saying slams, but when the slam down to me breakdowny parts come in, it hits hard and hits at home and hits you right in the heart, and you're just like, oh, that hits right stern, right there, and you're just like, yep, this is absolutely amazing. Excuse me. Now, there's a lot of tracks to enjoy on this album, if you ask me. Oh, and I might as well quickly say it before I get onto the tracks that I definitely appreciate on this album. Rock's vocals, he just keeps on getting more monstrous the more I listen to him. Like Void, his vocals just blew me away of how gargly and disturbing and filthy they were, and his pig squeals were just as filthy. But this album is, everything just sounds a lot more cleaner, a lot more pissed off, and just a bit more nasty and raw sounding. It just feels a little bit more nastier and grittier, if you ask me. And I don't know what they've done with regards to different ways of recording, but it sounds monstrous still. Yet again, it's a great continuation of the Void sound, and they have really come at home and made their own sound, which is the Within Destruction sound. It sounds monstrous. Tracks for me that you definitely need to check out are Deathwish, which features which is the title track, obviously, featuring Duncan Bentley of Vulvodynia. What's it called? Torture Ritual. Torture Ritual is easily my favourite song on this album. Absolutely love that track. Human Defect, obviously featuring Dickie Allen of Infinite Annihilator. Darkness Swallows Life, which features Adam D'Amico, I believe that's how it's pronounced, of Lorna Shore, doing a bit of guitar wankery on there, a little bit of a guest solo on there, which I really do like, because last album they got, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the guitarist of Archespire to do a guitar solo on, I believe it was Plague of Immortality, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, and that sounded really awesome, so I'm glad they're continuing off what the last album had and bringing it onto this album as well. Self-Hatred, another great one, and the closing track, Death Awaits Us All, perfect end to this album. It's got so much. That one's definitely one of the most powerful songs on this album, if you ask me. It definitely has that kind of vibe. And it has a bit of, excuse me, a bit of atmosphere going for it as well, and it definitely adds to the song, but it's still relentless in those 5 minutes that you listen to it. It's got its pace, it's got its progression, and it sounds monstrous as hell. And it just, as it fades out, it's just, oh, you just think, oh, it's coming to the close of the album, and you stick the album on again and again, and it never gets boring, it never gets old. It is relentless as it gets, and I absolutely love it. Is it better than Void? I don't know. I still get butterflies when I listen to Void. I get butterflies when I listen to this, but I don't think personally it's as good as Void, but I still think it's an absolute monstrous album. It was going to be a high pedestal to beat, but it's as close as it's going to get, because it's an absolutely amazing album to listen to. It's definitely going to be something that's going to be in my top albums come year's end. For an overall score on Deathwish, though, I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. It's relentless, it's barbaric, heavy and crushing. If you're into bands like Ingested, Vulvodynia, or I Declare War, you'll find something to love about these guys. Make sure to check out Within Destruction and their new album, Deathless, released under Rising Nemesis Records on March 30th. Put it down in your diaries. I know you just won't, but make sure to keep that date in mind. But yeah, I'll see you until the next video, and remember, stay metal, and I'll see you later.